What's good guys, it's ChillGuy here, back for another video. In today's video we're going to review the new Bloxfruits balance update. It's about to come here around by 2 p.m. So let's just review what is to come. I'm super hyped for this because I feel like Bloxfruits PvP has been really rough lately with a lot of meta fruits and stuff. So we can see in the background that Ciolus is quite mad that Dragon Talon V2 got nerfed. So yeah, you can see all the fruits that got buffed and all the swords, all the systems. So let's go over them one by one. So the first category is the control fruits. So the cooldown is increased by 4 seconds, hitbox size decreased by 10%, cooldown increased by 4%, and the F-mid end lag increased by 0.25 seconds when shooting an enemy, which is really good. I really wanted to see that they reduced the lag for control fruit, but they made it a little bit more balanced, I think, so which is a good thing, but I really wanted them to focus on reducing the lag on control. And now for the dark fruits, no one really uses dark fruits, but I'm glad to see that they're still looking at all those common, rare, and legendary fruits, and uncommon too. So dark fruits no longer self-stones, range increased by 25%. Hitbox size increased by 25%, which is good. And the X move now breaks instinct. End lag decreased by 25%, which is good. Hitbox size increased by 25% when fully held. Stun duration on the final hitbox increased by 50%, which is really nice. And then for the V move, cast time decreased by 25%, end lag decreased by 25%, and travel speed increased by 20%. Very good. Dark fruit needed a buff, and we got the buff we deserved. And now for diamond fruits, M1 no longer breaks instinct. Cooldown decreased by 20%, so you won't see them flying around no more. And then the C move added an extra 1 second stun. I think this is the blinding move. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the blinding move for Diamond Fruit. And then they buffed all the damage by, they nerfed all the damage on Diamond by 10%. But Diamond Fruit already has quite low damage, so to reduce it further was a bad idea on my part. Because I remember the time when the V move was like an auto turret move, and everyone would keep on like doing this tank and build infinite combo with Diamond, and now it's sad to see that they nerfed the damage even more. But anyway, next we have the door fruit. I'm really excited, hyped, because the door fruit was slept on for a while and like overtaken by meta fruits, and I'm glad to see that the door fruit is getting a little bit of love. So the Z tab now has hitbox size increased by 50%, which is good because no one really uses the Z move, which is like the projectile move. And now the Z Horde's travel speed is now increased by 20%, and the hitbox size is increased by 50%, which is really good because no one really uses that. And then the X move, on hit, end lag decreased by 20%, hitbox size increased by 20%, and on both variants, which is really nice because I already felt like the X move was already overpowered, but they made it even more broken, which means that we'll be seeing a lot of domains, because Dove Fruit is the easiest, one of the easiest mythicals to get and use for PvP. So hitbox size increased by 25%. The C move, Dove Fruit has the capacity for C move spamming, which means that a lot of people like land this is the easiest move. The C move is the easiest move for to land on Dolphins. And then they increase the stun duration. Okay. And then maximum hold duration increased by 2% to 4 from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. Cast time decreased by 20%. Which is okay. Yeah, it's just gonna make it more broken. The V move. And then Hybrid Dragon. I really wish that this fruit caught a huge move, but then it got buffed. But thank God they only buffed only one move though. So the X move now breaks instant and the hitbox is larger, which is fair enough. I don't see them talking about the transformed version though. I hope they're talking about the untransformed. So now we have the Eagle Fruit. No one really uses that, but I'm gonna talk about it. Z move and lag decreased by 20%. Wind up decreased by 45% for the C move. Travel speed increased by 25%. V move hitbox size increased by 20%, and stun duration increased by 30%. F move flight speed increased by 30%, and the flight meter drain increased while flying with a gun. Oh, so you drain way more meter if you're flying with a gun or sword equipped. Okay. Finally, we get to Imperial Kitsune, the long-awaited fruit that was supposed to be nerfed, that was just way too broken. I really wanted this fruit to get nerfed because of its C move dealt crazy amount of damage, especially with human before. You could use that one move and kill a high bounty player instantly with human before. And now it was even worse when a high bounty player was using it against a low bounty, because it does insane damage to Z. So I'm glad that the Z tap no longer breaks instant, and the Z hold damage is reduced by 30%, which is good. But they don't say anything about the Z hold not breaking instant though. I hope the skill does. So the X move now channels on hit. The users cannot cast another ability before the animation completes, which means that that's the zigzag move that the Kitsune does. Means that you can't longer do that Sanguinart, Kitsune, and Yama build, because people use this X move with Yama X to do insane stun and damage. And then the CDN lag is increased by 0.3 seconds, which means that they can now easily get punished for using the C move, which is also good. And now Fiend Yeti. This fruit is really hard to come across nowadays, but when you come across someone like that, they're easy to defeat unless they just run away or go back into their default mode, because no one uses the untransformed Fiend Yeti. It's always transformed. So we have the Z tap move, wind up increased by 20%, hitbox increased by 15%, okay, which is okay, and the Z hold cast time is decreased by 0.5 seconds. The X hold cast time decreased by 20%, range increased, and hitbox increased by 25%. And then the C move, and lag decreased by 60%. The F move, hitbox increased by 15%, and all damage increased by 17%. I feel like this fruit needed a buff, but we don't got to be buffing like the spam fruit. We need to go back to the kind of era whereby other people can survive most moves, you know. not everyone dies to a single one-shot combo or all your health gets depleted. It's okay, yes, if you could get die to a one-shot combo, it's satisfying, but you need like a way of escape, you know. You can trick if you don't know how to trick, you're dead, you know. So this is okay, I'm not mad about it. And then the flame fruit, like I said before, I'm glad that they're taking a look into all those commons and legendary fruits. Flame fruit travel speed increased by 40%, and the V move cast time decreased by 30%, and your F move cooldown decreased by 20%. This is really good because of the fact that flame fruit was so painfully slow. And now the V move has crazy stun. It's like lightning V move. It has crazy stun, sorry. I like the fact that you're taking a look at it. And the travel speed is increased by, so it comes out way faster though. It comes out way faster. I like that. Now for the grass fruit was already broken. I really wanted them to nerf the M1 though, because like a lot of hackers were going around spamming the M1 and gluing to the player while they had V4 on. So let's take a look at what the transform they did with the transformation. So the V move for the transformation, the hitbox size is now increased by 15%. The C move, the damage is increased by 30%, and the charging time is reduced by 30%, which is okay. No, not bad. Now we have the man of the hour, the ghost fruit. What people have been talking about, giving hype about. So the Z move cast time is decreased by 50%. The stun duration is increased from 1 second to 1.2 seconds. The X move range is increased by 15%. C move knockback decreased by 30%. And then V move, this is what people have been waiting for. The V move summon Ghost by receiving a major ability upgrade and can now mirror sword abilities, which means that if you're running sword main, this fruit might be actually broken. Because imagine you have 2 extra summon Ghosts and then you're using like TTKX on one player. That will do crazy amount of damage with sword main, especially with the second life ability of the ghost fruit. And now the F move cast time decreased by 52%, which is okay. And also gives them more time opportunity to run by something. Ice fruit. I didn't know that you're going to take a look at the ice fruit, but this is what I came here for. The V move of ice fruit is now usable in the air. Oh my god. This is going to destroy all the sky campers that used to troll on ice users. This is going to be crazy. Once this update release, ice fruit is going to come in clutch. So now the ice fruit C move travel speed is increased by 60%, and now the X move now breaks instinct, and the X hitbox size is increased by 25%. Okay. Kitsune, on the other hand, I didn't feel like Kitsune was that broken, but it definitely was. So the Z tap move, which is like the orbs that goes around the players and stuns them, can now be trickable, which means that you can just turn instinct on and you don't longer get stunned by the Kitsune Z move, which is kinda sad for Kitsune main, but it's good for us, the other side of the players, to have an opportunity to run away with them. Because I remember when Kitsune users used to troll and just they one-shot you and then they leave the Z-tap move on, and then you run away thinking that you survived, and then you just die by the orbs killing you, which is kind of funny. And let's take a look at the X move now. The X move now channels on hit, and the user cannot cast another ability before the animation completes, which is the same thing I said about Crimson Kitsune. it's going to be that the X move that does the zigzag move and stuns the player would now be a lot harder to land combos after hitting the X move, because like the X move has a lot of stuff. Now we go to the C move. End lag increased by 0.3 seconds, which means it's easier to punish the C move. This is what I've also been looking at, and I'm glad that they didn't change it too much, because I thought that they're gonna nerf lightning to the ground, but I'm glad that they only took a look at the Z move. I still feel like other moves on lightning are still kind of nerfed in a way, because the X move now does so bad damage. The damage on the X move on lightning is so terrible. Not terrible, but it's easier to Kentrick. Like you can literally leave your Ken on, and you can just walk through the lightning X move. And the C move, you can do the same. It's a lot harder to actually deal damage. That's why most people rely on the Z move, because it breaks Ken guaranteed. But them reducing the size doesn't mean that I can't hold it and then increase the size. So the hitbox size is now decreased by 10%, which means there's a lot higher chance of people escaping from the lightning V move. And the V move hold hitbox size gain from charging decreased by 25%, which is also sad to see, but it's fine. Okay, now we have Mammoth. All damage increased by 10%, and transform. The dash distance is now increased, which is okay because Mammoth is also attack build, but it's alright. Pain. A lot of people wanted the Pain passive afterlife move to be heavily buffed, because we have a lot of Pain runners and them trying to run away. This is going to make the Pain users actually stay back and try to fight back, because most Pain users decide to run away before the meter runs out. So this last stand keeps the user in combat while active. This is going to change how Pain runners engage in a fight heavily, because we are not going to have any longer any Pain runners, because of if they try to run away, they'll still be in combat even though they run away. Because of if they still have this meter on, they're still going to be in combat, which is really good. And now we have the health. The health resets to the maximum and drains throughout the final stand duration. And healing is disabled. Defeating another player during this window deactivates the last stand and resets meter to 0. The NPCs and eliminations don't count. So this means that if you have this last stand on and you kill a player, you're no longer going to end up dying, and the meter is going to just reset back to 0. So which means if you defeat a player, you're not going to die and you're just going to live on, but your meter is going to go off to 0. And also NPCs and eliminations don't count. So which means that this is kind of giving you kind of like a revive food, making Pain even more broken, you know, because if you get the last stand, that's an extra life, which means your opponent has a lot to deal with already, and then you kill the player and then you still get to be alive, and then if another teamer comes on, you get to kill that teamer and you still get to be alive. So it's like an infinite loop. You don't get to die if you're good. If you're good at the game with Painful, if you're good at Painful. So now we get the Phoenix and the Quick Fruit. So now Phoenix Fruits, we have the M1 damage increased by 20%, the hitbox size increased by 20, the explosion hitbox size increased by 20, and then we have the Z move. The Z move in damage increased by 25%, the energy cost decreased by 40%. Okay. And then we have the Quick Fruit Z move, damage increased by 20%, Unlag decreased by 70%, damage increased by 40% for X move, wind up decreased by 30% for X move, and unlag decreased by 30%. For the C move, damage increased by 70%, wind up decreased by 30%, unlag decreased by 30% for the C move, and the V move damage increased by 20%, which is good. Yesterday, with this route, I got killed twice in a row by someone that was almost to 20 mil. I think it was 30 mil. And all he did was just hit the X move. I don't know how broken this X move is, but it is that crazy. And now they buffed the sand fruit to make it even more overpowered. So let's take a look at what they did. The X move on hit and lag is decreased by 40%, okay? The C move and lag is decreased by 60%, and the hitbox size is now increased by 25%, which is not bad. The V move, vortex strength, is increased by 100%, pulling enemies more strongly towards the center, and the cast time is decreased by 50%. Okay, and the F move fight speed is increased by 25%. So not bad, really good buff for Sandfruit. Let's take a look at the Spider Fruit though. So the Z move for the Spider Fruit, damage is increased by 50%, range increased by 25%, and the hitbox size increased by 60%. Z move, okay. And the X move, hitbox size increased by 30%, stun duration increased by 20% for the Spider. Tiger Fruit is really spammy, and I don't really see a need for buffing it, but we can go over. Since both of these are the same, we just go over the Tiger only. The X move, wind up decreased by 20% and hitbox size increased by 15%. C tap move, travel speed is increased by 25% and hitbox size increased by 10%. C move, hold, cast time increased by 0.75 seconds and range increased. The F move can now be dodged by instant and travel speed increased by 10%. And now for the blazing form, the V move heals 30% of maximum health upon entering blazing form. So that means if you transform into this, you get healed up by 30%. And now the Z move damage is increased by 30%, X move travel speed is increased by 50%, and the C move damage is increased by 10%, and the travel speed increased by 15%, hitbox size increased by 15%. The F move now breaks instinct and wind up increased by 30%. Okay, we're back with Tiger spammers and werewolf spammers. First for Yeti, the transform version F move, hitbox size is increased by 10% and all damage is buffed by 10%. Now we go to funny stars. Death Step got buffed. That's nice. So the Z move range is increased by 50%, hitbox size increased by 50%, X move range increased by 20%, hitbox size increased by 20%, C move damage over time increased by 20%, and lag decreased from 0.25 seconds to 0.1 seconds, and hitbox size increased by 15%. And then the V move cooldown decreased by 50% and the duration decreased by 50%. Okay? Sanguine Sea. Sanguine Sea. Sanguine Sea is the most easiest, one of the most. I feel like it was hard for me to land, but for portal mains, it was the easiest move combo starter that you could ever get from Sanguine Art. The easiest combo, the only combo starter you can get from Sanguine Sea. And it's sad to see that the range got decreased even more, and the hitbox size got decreased too. So the C move range got decreased by 15%, the hitbox size decreased by 10%. Shotgun karate was a little bit over the edge, but I still used it no matter what. The X move no longer launches the opponent into the air, which is good because it was really annoying to hit the Z move after the X because they will keep on flying out up in the air and it made it harder to land. So hopefully this makes it easier for the X moves to land. And the C move now has a new, I think, variant. So it now grants temporary. Now the C move now has a new buff. So it grants temporary health based on the damage absorbed. So I don't know what that means. That maybe they get like a water shield health bar anytime they absorb damage using the C move. No longer instinct trickable, and the hold. So which means that the C move you can longer can trick this, and the hold no longer can be cancelled by incoming damage, and the damage reduction while holding is increased, and the maximum hold time is now 1.5 seconds. I feel like this buff for Shrapnel Karate is going to be crazy sick, and getting help for just dealing absorbing damage is also kind of crazy. So for swords, we have the Dark Blade, and now the Dark Blade Z move holds charge speed is increased by 10%, and life decreased by 30%, and range increased by 10%. The hitbox size is also decreased by 10%. Dark Blade, for me, since I don't have it right now, felt like it was pay to win, until I get it or until someone gives it to me. I feel like it's going to be something that is pay to win, but them increasing it is not bad because I feel like the X move was mostly used on the 7, so this buff is not that bad. And now for the Dragon Heart, I really wish that they would just buff the Z move, because like the X move, back in the day, the Z move was crazy. Like the range of it, like the range of the Z move alone, it dealt so much damage, and the range was like you can't escape. If you get hit by it, you get hit by it. So let's see what got nerfed on the Dragon Heart. The Z move instant drain decreased by 50% for the initial hits. So it takes less instant out of you. So now we talked about Pole V2. No one really uses that, it's just for the sweaty players, but let's talk about it. Z move hitbox size increased by 35%, and the X move and lag decreased from 0.3 seconds to 0.5 to 0.15 seconds. In range increased by 20%, and hitbox size increased by 20%, which is good because we'll start seeing Pole V2 mains coming soon. True TTK actually. TTK. The X move and lag increased by 0.5 seconds, travel speed increased by 25%. I'm glad they're taking a look into the X move because I felt like you had to be really close to the person to hit the X move. All the moves on TTK actually. So the X move getting any lag decrease, which means that you can easily increase, which means that you can easily get punished for using the X move, and the travel speed is now increased by 25%, which means it will be a lot easier to land from a distance. So twin hooks was also good for portal mains. Z move enemy landing location is now more predictable. I don't know if that means that when you cast the twin hooks Z move tornado, it now puts the players in, like stuns them in one location, so that maybe the X move or portal X is more easier to land. But so far, these buffs for swords are not that bad. But the one that was most unpredictable was no one knew that Yama would get it now. Yama is one of the best support swords that you could ever have. And it's sad to see that the X move can now no longer break instinct, which means that it's going to be harder to put this in a combo, because of a lot of Kitsune mains and a lot of lightning mains, a lot of fruit mains use this fruit as a support combo extender. Now that the X move is now cannot no longer break instinct, it means that it is going to be one of the main moves that is going to be cantripped actually. So it only drains instinct while target remains in the hitbox. So it means that maybe 1 to 2 instinct drains if they land this move, but it's still easier to, I think it might be easier to escape this move. And now for gun mains. We only got 3 for this one, so we'll just speed through it. Kabucha, Z move now applies 0.5 stun instead of knockout. The X move NRAG decreased from 0.4 seconds to 0.2 seconds, which means that I guess it's going to be easier to escape after using the X move. And then for the Z move, now applies 0.5 seconds stun instead of knockout, which means that after the Z move, it's going to be easier to combo extend rather than sending the opponent flying in the air. So the Skull Guitar, we got a fix, which means that Kitsune players that use like the fling, the what's it called, Skull Guitar jump glitch, whereby you fly in the air like crazy, it has now been patched and you can't do that anymore. And the hitbox size is decreased by 15% for the X move, which means no more spamming Skull Guitar X to combo start. Venom Ball, the range is increased by 15% and the X move now applies a 1 second stun even when instinct is dodge. Okay. Which means Venom Ball now has a great stun. Go V4 was also one of the most annoying races to fight against because of the spam and the heals and the crows. Like, I feel like Go V4 is like an all-round race, you know. It's a race that can heal you, can stun you, can not heal you, I mean take health from you, which is like heal themselves, can stun you, has crazy speed, has crazy cooldown. So it's like a crazy all-round race. So for the first gear, we have the lifesteal decreased from 27% to 20%, which is okay. No more spam heroes on Golden 4. And then gear 2, lifesteal decreased from 37% to 30%, which is also good. And then for the crows now drain instinct instead of breaking it instantly. And for the damage, cold damage decreased by 10%. Now we have Shock V4. The V3 cooldown increased by 15% and the duration increased by 4.5 seconds to 5 seconds, which is alright, which means the cooldown is increased by 15%. Okay, so we have a lot of Shock V4 was also kind of annoying, because like they only pop that Shock V3 if they're low health, which means that they have a higher chance of running away or just like tanking all the damage so that they can survive longer. And now the V4 got buffed, so the shield now scales up to 60% of maximum HP, which means that the shield is already bringing out like an extra damage layer that you have to deal to them before that damage is actually going to affect their HP, which is going to take even longer to kill a Shock V4 user. And now the damage for the Shock V4, the Whirlpool now decreases damage to your opponent by 20%, which means that your opponent, whenever they're hit with a Whirlpool, they not only get slowed, but their damage is reduced by 20%. which is not bad. And then we have the systems. No one saw this one coming, but now the M1 will have aim assist, which is crazy because we have swords like Dragonstone in the game. Maybe Dragonstone won't have aim assist because that would just be broken for gun means. But for other swords that are harder to land, the M1s, I think that's a good play. But for Dragonstone, that's just going to make it way too broken, way too spammy. And now for Instinct, the dodge regeneration time is decreased from 40 seconds to 30 seconds, which means you can get your Instinct a lot faster. And then the Instinct dodges replenish 25% faster, which is good. So we have some bug fixes too. We patched the Dragon Talon bug, the Diamond bug, the Electric Claw and Sentinels. The exploit allowed the user to travel much further than intended when triggered, which is okay because we got a lot of people flying around in the air, using skills like crazy. That stops that, which is perfectly okay with me. It's not like I ever tried to learn it and didn't learn it. But next up we have the Flash Tech Instant Combo Exploit. I didn't know that Bloxfruits saw this as an exploit. I saw it kind of like really pro players would flash them onto people and then instantly like stun, do combos, which stops that, which means that like portal users that use that portal X stun and flash step uses portal X to stun and then lands the combo. This prevents that, which is kind of okay, but then it's really bad for those portal players that uses this kind of exploits, as so Bloxfruits calls it. So yeah, that's all for the upcoming Bloxfruits Nerf update, and I think that this update is going to be really good. It's going to balance a lot of fruits, it's going to buff a lot of fruits, it's going to bring a lot of fruits into the meta right now, and a lot of fruits are not going to be like they used to in our current meta. So I'm glad to see that other people are going to bring out a lot of new fruits, start using other fruits except from like only Kitsune or Dragon. I like the fact that other people are going to start using a lot crazier a lot crazier builds that have crazier combos, crazier stuns, a lot of things that wasn't in our current meta. Because for Lightning you only have to spam the V-move, for Kitsune you only have to land the C-move, and now we're bringing like Sand into play, we're bringing like Dog Fruit into play, which is really okay. I like this thumbnail too because we got like Lightning has the red effect, which means it got Nerf. Sandfruit got the buff effect, which means it got buff. The green effect because it got buff, and the Kitsune has like the red effect because it got Nerf. And also the dog in the background pulling in the Kitsune, who is holding Kitsune C. So yeah, that will be it for this video. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And I might do a live stream actually before the when the update release, but we'll see how it goes. And make sure to get this video to at least, let's say, 10 likes, and then I'll do a Sand Fruits PvP video, which will be crazy exciting, and I can't wait to play this update. I'm sure you guys are as hyped as I am, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.